Then I'll explain you the probability distribution. So probability distribution also you guys know, no? You have done this, no? Probability distribution. You know what is random variable.
Yes, sir.
You have done all these things, no? You have prepared this table. So if you have done that, did you people try to solve these problems?
No, sir.
Okay. So listen. So that is probability distribution. So from the probability distribution, there is a concept called as binomial distribution, right? So this binomial distribution is a concept which is based on, that is, you can take it like this: the probability of occurrence of event is given one variable, probability of non-occurrence of event is given another variable. So how do you combine them and write it as what is the best? Okay, there's not a formula or something. It is very much similar to the two problems which we did. The one was the West Indies one and the dice one. Using the same logic, I'll explain it to you. So let's say there is an event E that is to be occurred. So let P be the probability of occurrence of event in one trial. Okay. Then actually it is small p, okay? No, small p, not capital P, it is small p. So small p is the probability of occurrence of event in one trial. Then if you take a variable Q, then that is going to be the non-occurrence of that event E in one trial. Then what will it be in terms of probability of P? So it is going to be 1 minus P because it is the complementary. So P plus Q will be equal to 1. So let the occurrence of event be called success. Let X denote the number of successes in n trials. Okay, you don't know when the success is going to occur. It can be any number of trials depending on the condition I impose. Okay. Then probability of X is equal to R, where probability of R successes is given by NCR into P power R into Q power N minus R. This is what is called as the binomial distribution of probability, where P stands for what? The probability of success, and Q stands for the probability of failure. So if at all you prepare a table like this, the probability distribution of, let's say, some random variable is given like this. So X is the random variable that you're using, 0, 1, 2, so on till, let's say, n trials are going on. Are you guys able to understand this till this point? Now, when I say P of X, in this case, what is the value of X equal to? X equal to
0.
obviously a 0. So then what should be the case? I had. So when you read this, okay, don't look at it like a formula. So how to understand this? N is what? N stands for what here? If you read all the data that is given, all the variables, what does N stand for?
So total number of trials.
So out of what is the meaning of this is, out of the n trials that I tried, how many successes did I have? How many successes did you have? Random variable is telling you that. Random
0.
variable speaks. You had 0 success. So if it is 0 success, then what will happen is, first trial, my probability is Q. Second trial, my probability is Q. Third trial, my probability is Q. Because Q is the probability of failure. Like this Q will go how many times?
N times.
N times. So Q multiplied with itself n times is going to be Q power n. So this Q power n, can I see how I'm going to write this? Q power n, can I write it as P power n minus n, sorry, P power 0, right? P power 0 into Q power n, and what is the coefficient of it? It is 1. So can I write it as NC naught? Did you understand what I did?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is what is given as a formula, NCR into P power R into Q power n minus R. Next one, if I have one success, okay, that one success can occur in any of the trials I know. But out of the n trials I do, how many times should I see success?
So only once.
You will see it only once. So once I see the success, then how many times will I see the failure? I'll see the n minus 1 time. Okay. So this p into q power n minus 1, can I write it as nc 1 into p power 1 into q power n minus 1?
Sir, can you explain how the NC1 terms came?
Okay, I'm actually sorry. I wrote it wrong. I'm actually explaining the reverse principle. Here NC1 didn't come like that. I'm using the formula. So our success is there means the formula is going to be NC1 into p power 1 into q power n minus 1. You can just give me 2 minutes. I'll tell you how that has come. I'll just recollect.
Sir.
Tell me.
Sir, it's just like that. Number of events is n. Out of that, any one event can be success. So you have NC1 probability of choosing a successful event.
It's not about choosing them. Just a minute. You can look at. You can go through the example in the meanwhile. Got it. See, here what am I saying? So what does this x is equal to 1 represent?
So one success.
One success. Okay, so let's stick to that. They're saying one success. Did they tell you in which trial?
No, sir.
No, right? So that is where the point comes. So if I get the first trial itself success, then what should the remaining trials be? They should be failure. Or I can get the first trial to be failure. The second trial can be success. Then how many trials will be failure after the first success?
So q power n minus 2.
You're able to understand what I'm writing. Or I can get q into p power. So p into q power n minus 3. You're able to understand like this. How many positions can this p take? And like this, how many? It can take n events. That's why, but if you calculate vertically, it is nothing but p into q power n minus 1. So every trial it is going to be p power q p minus 1. You're able to understand. So p into q power n minus 1 with itself, how many times? N times, right? So n is nothing but nc1. nc1 into p power 1 into q n minus 1. So this actually derived from an observation like this. Are you guys able to understand? Because I'm saying the number of success, but I'm not saying at which trial you are getting the success. So there will be these many events that are possible. Are you guys able to understand? That is why the formula is NCR into P power R into Q power N minus R. So that's all with this concept. So similarly, when you go to the next one, you can, so there's now NC2 comes. I hope you understood. One minute. Huh? You can try this example problem. Just read it. Hello. 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 So there is a lot of 100 bulbs from manufacturing and 90 at random.
Sorry, your
There will
voice
be
is
5 non-defective. Is it clear now? Is it better now?
yes, sir.
Okay. So what they are saying is there are 100 bulbs, out of which 10 are defective, 90 are non-defective. So 10% failure and 90% success. So if 8 bulbs are selected at random, what is the probability that there will be 3 defective and 5 non-defective? So it will be NC3. See, forget about, let's say you don't know what is this binomial or binomial distribution that was existing. How will you approach this question basically? So 3 non-defective now, how will you approach it actually? Let me make the question simple, okay? If I put the question as 1 defective and 7 non-defective bulbs, how will you approach it?
So 8 factorial is 1 factorial.
No, like 8 factorial?
By 7 factorial.
No, then you are trying to say only 8. But see, I'm asking, forget about this 8 factorial also. If I ask you to arrange it, use the fundamental principle of counting, how will you approach? So the same way, no? Success, failure, how many times? Success 1 time, according to what question? Success 1 time, failure 7 times, or first failure, success 1 time, failure 6 times. So like this, how many combinations will you?
8 times.
You will have 8, no? So what will you do? 8 into P power 1 into Q power 7. The same logic here. Okay, the same logic is applicable. So by looking at this question, will you be able to find out that this is a question based on binomial distribution? Will you guys be able to find it out? Because binomial distribution consists of only 2 possibilities. What are the 2 possibilities? One is success and the other is failure. Okay, so do it. So do this problem. You need not find that value and all, that big value and all. If you are able to write it in the process of combinations, that's more than sufficient. So how will you write it? 8C3 into P power 3 into Q power N minus 3. There will at least be 1 defective bulb. there will at least be one defective bulb. Na? What is the meaning of it? So there can be one defective bulb, there can be two defective bulbs, there can be 8 defective bulbs also. So what is the range of it?
So 1
What
to
is
8.
1 to 8, no? So what is missing? So if you have to have 0 defective bulbs, then take that case, then 1 minus the remaining cases will give you the answer. So what is the probability of having 0 defective bulbs? Means everything is a success. So if you take that particular case, 1 minus 100% minus this having success rate is what is the failure rate. Okay. The screen share is on. Shall we do a few problems based on that concept? So that is topic 4. Let's do a few problems. Let's go. So think about it. For an initial screening of an admission test, the candidate is given 50 problems to solve. If the probability that the candidate can solve the problem is 4 by 5, so that is success. The probability that he will not solve is failure. So then the probability that he is unable to solve less than 2 problems. So what is how do you approach it?
So then he's able to solve more than 48 problems.
Yes, sir.
Just a minute. That he is unable to solve less than he's unable to solve less than 2 problems. He is able to solve more than
48.
okay. Then what will be the answer?
Sir, option C, sir.
So we can say he is able to solve another 4 by 5 should come. It should not be 1 by 5. So 4 by 5 power 49. So how did you approach?
So it's the same thing, sir. 50 C,
No,
50 49 1 into 1 by 5 into 4 by 5 whole power 49 plus
that's it. Tell me again.
so 50 C 49 into 1 by 5 into 4 by 5 whole power 49
1 by 5 whole power
4 by 5 into 40.
You are saying 50C1. Then here 1
No,
should be
sir.
there. No, this. Oh, 4 by 5 is success. Okay. Then it should be 49. So okay. 4 by 5, the whole power 49 into 1 by
1
5.
by plus 50 C 50 into 4 by 5 whole power 50 into 1 by 5 whole power 0.
Yeah. So when you solve this, what is that you are getting? So anyways, you need not solve also, I think, because if you take out 4 by 5 power 49, you can take out common and solve. There is only one option which is with 4 by 5 the whole power 49. Okay, you can do the next one. So the next one will be an integer type. Let a random variable x have a binomial distribution with mean 8 and variance 4. Do you remember the formula for mean and variance? With mean 8. So mean is represented as mu, that is equal to, so here is it given. So mean is given by the symbol mu, that is equal to sigma I is equal to 1 to n. Write it up. Sigma I is equal to 1 to n xi into pi. So this will come from the probability distribution table. If the probability distribution table is given, then you multiply the x value with its corresponding probability and add to the other values. So write down the formula for variance. So the formula for variance is root of sigma I is equal to 1 to n xi minus mu the whole square into probability of xi into probability of xi. Sorry. Variance is square of this one. This what I wrote is standard deviation. So sigma is this thing. Or sigma square. So this is the variance, and the standard deviation will be square root of variance. So based on this, do this problem. So let a random variable x have a binomial distribution with mean 8 and variance 4. Probability of x less than or equal to 2 is equal to k divided by 2 power 16, then the value of k is equal. Guys, do you have NCERT in hand? Can you take out your NCERTs?
Yes, sir.
So in the NCERT, just go through the formula for mean and variance that is given. I'll tell you the page number. So page
Sir,
number
same
is
formula, sir.
for same formula only. If you want to refer and do it, you can do it. That's what I want to say.
Sir, 566, sir.
Got the answer as 566. Just hold this problem. Okay? I have to check once. So I'll do this and I'll explain it to you guys. So you can try from the next one. I'll tell you what are all the problems you can do. So 3 you can do, 4 you can do, 5 you can do, 6, 7. So try all these problems. So you can try from fourth one. So minimum number of times one has to toss a fair coin so that the probability of observing at least one head is 90%. It's at least 90%. So number of times a fair coin must be tossed so that the probability of getting at least one head is more than 99%. So what is the probability of getting one hit? So what is the probability of getting one hit? Obviously. So probability of getting one hit is 1/2. So let's say the coin has to be tossed n times. What are they trying to say? Did you guys understand the question? Okay, there is no formula or something. You just have to go. Yeah, tell me.
Sir, you can calculate the number of trials in each case, sir, and then you just need to subtract it by 1 because there will only be one case where you don't get at least one net, which is all tails. So using that, you can calculate a fraction, and if it comes more than 0.9, then it's done. That's done.
Then point. That's right. So how do you calculate? So what is the expression? 1 minus. So there will be only one case where you get all tails. So in that case, what will be the probability? 1/2. When you get all tails, what will be the probability? 1/2.
So 1/2.
1/2 power n. So out of the 100 chances you're trying, this will be one of such chances. So this should be greater than what?
0.9.
Yeah, 99%. No, 99%. So how much will be? So this will be 1 divided by 100. N is 7, right?
Yes, sir.
2 power 7 is how much?
128.
128.
Yes, so 1 by 128 is.
Yeah. So 1/2 power. So 2 power n should be less than 100 because inequality 2 power n should be greater than 100. Correct. And inequality will get reversed. So 2 power n is greater than 100 means what should be the minimum value? So 2 power 6 is 64 into 2. So n should be 7. Yeah. Fourth one. Same thing. The minimum number of times one has to toss a fair coin so that the probability of observing at least one head is greater than 90%. Same inequality. You should replace it with 90 by 100.
So four, sir.
Next one. In a game, a man wins rupees 100 if he gets 5 or 6 on a throw of fair die and loses rupees 50 for getting any other number on the die. If he decides to throw the die either till he gets a 5 or 6 or to a maximum of 3 throws, then his expected gain or loss in rupees is. In a game, a man wins rupees 100 if he gets a 5 or 6 on a throw. So what is the probability of getting a 5 or 6? So probability of getting a 5 or 6 is how much?
1 by 3, sir.
It is 1 by 2 out of 6. Yes.
So this one you can just.
Mhm.
So first there'll be 3 successes, sir. Either you can get a success in the first throw, or second throw, or third throw,
Okay.
or the fourth cases he doesn't get a success at all because maximum 3 throws.
Okay.
So there'll be 4 cases. You can calculate each.
That's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. So what is happening in the first case? Let us say in the first case he is getting all success. All the three throws are giving him success means P into P into P. So for each turn, how much will he get?
Sir, only once, sir, because if he gets success once itself, he quits the game.
If he decides to throw the die, if he decides to throw the die either till he gets a 5 or a 6 or to a maximum of 3 rows. Okay then. So if he's getting it once itself, he is going to quit. Yeah. So P into 100 or what will happen?
So first there'll be a lose some, and
He
then
might
he'll
fail
get.
and he might succeed. If this is happening, then what will happen? He might fail and he might succeed. Then what will happen? So if he fails,
So
how much
50,
is he
sir.
going to lose? Minus 50. And how much is he going to win?
100.
100. Plus what can happen? He can 4 times and win the third time. Then it is going to be minus 50 plus 100. Plus he can lose all that time, right? Correct, Ada? So probability of him winning is 1 by 6, 1 by 3. 1 by 3 into 100 plus 1 by 3 into what is the probability of him failing?
2 by 3, sir.
4 by 3, yeah, 2 by 3. So this will be 50. Eவ்வளவு வருது answer if you do this? Can you calculate and tell me?
0, sir.
0.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Similarly, do the next one. If the probability of hitting a target by a shooter in any shot is 1 by 3, then the minimum number of independent shots at the target required by him so that the probability of hitting the target at least once is greater than 5 by 6. See, wherever you see this at least concept, no, then you take the complementary case only. You solve it using the complementary condition, 1 minus something. So probability of hitting a target by any shot is 1 by 3. So probability is 1 by 3. Then the minimum number of independent shots at the target required by him, so that the probability of hitting the target at least once is greater than 5 by 6. So at least once,
Sir.
means what is the probability that he will never hit?
So 2 by 3.
But number of, okay.
2 by 3 whole power n.
Probability that he will. So what is the probability that he will never hit? So 2 by 3 the whole power n, correct?
Yes, sir. So 1 minus 2 by 3 the whole power n is greater
So
than
1 minus 2 by 3 the whole power n should be greater than 5 by 6. When you solve this, what are you getting?
So I'm getting 2 power n plus 1 less than 3 power n minus 1.
And n plus 1 number. So 2 by 3. So 2 by 3 will go to the other side. Is less than 1. 2 by 3 the whole power n is less than 1 by 6. What can I do?
So
So that
it's
n plus,
separately, sir.
okay.
You can write 6
two-
is 3 into 2. And
Yeah, 2 power n plus 1 is less than 3 power n minus 1. Is this how you solve?
yes, sir.
Then how do we calculate the mean number? The least square. You have to take only log on both the sides.
5.
So we have to substitute and see. We can try out trial and error. You can do. So 5 is working. So try out 6. What is 2 power 7? 2 power 7 is definitely not less than 3 power 5. Okay, you can do the trial and error method and see that. Or else you can do it here itself. So 5 is the answer. Next one, 7th one. So 2 cards are drawn successively with replacement. From a well-shuffled deck of 52 cards, let X denote the random variable of number of aces obtained in the 2 cards drawn. Then P of X is equal to 1 and P of X is plus P of X is equal to 2 is. So 2 cards are drawn successively with replacement from a well-shuffled deck of 52 cards. Let X denote the random variable of number of aces obtained in the 2 drawn cards. So P of X is equal to 1 plus P of X is equal to 2 is equal to what?
Sir,
Tell me.
sir, this is. So should we also calculate for the failure also, sir? Like 51 by 52 divided by the whole power. And
Is because here what is happening is they're not telling about the number of turns. No, which turn you're getting, you don't know. So you have to take it into consideration. So P of X is equal to 1 means how many turns are there? 2 cards are drawn. So out of the 2 turns, 2C1, what is the probability of getting? What is asking? P of X is equal to 1 means you got ace ones.
Sir,
sir,
So what is the probability of getting? So what is the probability of success, sir?
so 1 by 52, sir.
4 by 52.
Yeah,
It
4
will
by-
be 4 by 52. It will be any one of the a's. So it will be 1 by 13. So 1 by 13, the whole power 1 into you not getting this is going to be 48 by 52. 48 by 52 now is going to be 12 by 13. So 12 divided by 13, the whole 2C2 into 1 by 13, the whole square into 12 by 13, the whole power 2. So this is how it goes.
Sir, but then why isn't
Tell
it
me.
52 C1?
Because only 2 cards are drawn, no? How many trials are there? This 2
Yes.
stands for 2 stands for the number of trials, no? See, this variance problem alone, I am not able to recollect a shortcut formula. I'll see that and check. I tell you. That is why I asked you to hold the second one and the other problems. We can do the other one. We can do the ninth one. A multiple choice choice examination has 5 questions. Each question has 3 alternative answers, of which exactly one is correct. The probability that the student will get
Sir, one doubt,
4
sir.
or more correct answers. Sorry?
Sir, one doubt, sir.
Tell me.
Sir, if you look 2C2, then it will be
It will be
12 by
1.
13 whole power 0, sir.
Oh, yeah. 12 by 13 power 0. I'm sorry. Okay.
So,
So, ninth one is. Tell me.
so variance formula is summation of p of x square minus summation of p of x into p of x.
That's there. See, there is a shortcut formula based on the number of trials and probability of success and probability of failure. There is a formula. Okay, that is easy. It's nothing but manipulation. You know what is mean, right? Can you explain me what is variance actually? Can you tell me what is variance? If you keep the formula aside, what does variance mean? So the basic central tendencies you have in statistics is the mean, median, and the mode. But what happens is sometimes when you have a negative value, so when we do an experiment, right, about the concept of errors in physics, right? Do you guys remember this? We learned the concept of errors in physics. It's in the units and measurements. You would have applied it in the lab also. Are you guys able to recollect? To speak only, I can tell. Right. So once you do the experiment, what is the whole objective? You're repeating the experiment multiple number of times to find something related to the accuracy, which we call it as the true value. Right. When you're doing that accurate value, if I ask you to calculate the error, what are you actually doing? If I ask you to calculate the error, what are you doing?
So calculated value minus theoretical value divided by.
So what
theoretical
exactly?
value.
Why are you doing that actually? Don't say to get the answer for error. Don't say that. Logically, you think, why should we do that? If just because somebody has told it, we should not do it.
So because
Why
you
are you
didn't
actually
get the real value.
You didn't get the exact value. We don't know what is the exact value. When you look at every reading, there is some variation happening. Am I right? So that variation which is happening. So when you report the final answer, how you report it? You will report it as true value plus or minus whatever is the error you have got. Means you would have got some value by taking the average, but my average can have a small deviation this side or this side for me to accept the value. That's the main application of doing the experiment. So here also indirectly you're applying statistics only. Because you have data, you have discrete data in your hand. To the discrete data, you're applying some basic statistics to understand how much is my value varying with respect to the expected value. So if somebody is reporting the answer to me, I'm talking purely in terms of physics, okay? That idea actually came from mathematics only. That's what you're learning as a formula. So when you do this experiment, when you report the answer, if somebody is reporting the answer, let's say 5 plus or minus 0.5, means I can understand that 0.5 is a permissible limit beyond which there is some experimental error. That is what is happening. In a similar way, statistics, when it comes to other applications, let's say in commerce industry or somewhere else, so there also they have data. The data has to get analyzed. So when you do the data, when you try to calculate the true value, that's what we call it as mean. Then what do you mean by standard deviation? So what do you mean by standard? Have you heard this word standard deviation?
Yes, sir.
So standard deviation square is what is variance. You know this, right? So what does standard deviation actually mean? Can someone tell me?
So like approximately how far are the range of values from the mean?
how far is the range of, so the name itself is suggesting standard deviation. Deviation means what? How much is my individual reading? How much is my individual reading varying with respect to the true value, right? So if you're able to calculate that and take an average of it, that's what we call it as standard deviation. Then what is this variance all about? So I wrote a formula for variance. Now, what was it? Can you guys tell me? So mean is equal to, I wrote mean is equal to 1 to n xi into pi. So generally, when you apply the same formula in statistics, what will you do? You will write xi into fi divided by capital N. Do you remember this?
Yes, sir.
So don't have anything like capital N. Why?
Sir, we're multiplying with the probability itself.
The probability itself has a fraction in it because you're talking about the percentage of it. So that percentage multiplied with what value will give me the exact mean of it. Then what is the variance formula that we applied? So standard deviation is given as, so our variance is given as what? So what was the formula? Sigma I is equal to 1 to n into, what is it? Just now I wrote
Sir,
xi
xi minus mu the whole square into p of xi.
into, I'll write it as p of I, or else if you want p of that random variable. Let's say. What is the meaning of this? So what exactly have you done here? Are you able to observe something in this thing? So this expression xi minus mu the whole square means, what is the meaning of it?
So calculating the
Finding the
errors.
Actually, xi minus u, xi is what? Individual reading. Mu is the true value according to our physics, or like whatever you say, the average value, right? So you're seeing how much is my individual reading varying with respect to the mean value, and you're taking the square of it. Why are you taking the square of it? So when I say you're taking, see, there are two ways to generate positive values in mathematics. What are the two ways?
So modern.
I can think of modulus, or I can make it a perfect square. So perfect square of it, okay, I'm trying to avoid the negative values, and that negative values, when I multiply with the frequency, the number of times that particular event is occurring, and if I take the average of it, I get something called as variance. So for that variance, if I take the square root, I will get the standard deviation. So based on all the observation, based on all the experimental aspect, they would have tried modulus, they would have tried square. Based on all the observations that are taken into consideration, this method was found to be more standard. Okay, that is how this formula has actually come. Are you guys able to understand this point? So this is the formula in terms of individual readings and the mean value multiplied with the probability distribution. I mean the probability value, the individual probability readings for the random variables. So if this is manipulated, there is some other formula that we will get. That is what I'm not able to recollect. That's what I told. I'll check and tell you. But you need to understand what is the inner meaning of why this formula has come. Don't memorize it like a formula, because as I told you, when it comes to all the chapters, you will get confused. If suppose in the exam hall you forget it, you should know the concept behind how it has actually come. Then you will be able to recollect it easily. So understand and study, especially statistics part. Anyways, that is going to be our next topic of discussion, statistics and mathematical reasoning. So that time you will understand these things better. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is, I don't remember the formula of the relation between the variance, the number of trials, success and failure. I'll check that and I'll get back to you. It is a very simple formula. It is like n into p, something will come. Okay, I will recollect and tell you. With the reason, I'm not saying just like I'll tell you the formula, I'll tell you why it has come also, so that you will understand better. To the 9th question, can you tell me what to do, how to do this? The multiple choice examination has 5 questions. Each question has 3 alternative answers, of which exactly one is correct. Okay, the probability that a student will get 4 or more correct answers just by guessing. Just by guessing.
Sir,
Tell me.
sir, 5C4 into 1 by 3 power 4 into
So you
2
should
by
get,
3.
so probability of x is equal to 4 or probability of x is equal to 5. That's right. So x is equal to 4 means what will you get? 5?
5C4 1 by
Okay.
3 power 4 into 2 by 3.
Why is it 1 by 3?
So only one option is correct, sir.
One option is there. So probability of him getting the right answer is 33%. So 1 by 3 the whole power 4 means all the 4 questions were right into 2 by 3 the whole power 1. Is this what you did?
Yes, sir.
5C5 1 by 3 the whole power 5 into 2 by 3 the whole power 0. So that's how it goes. Yeah. So what is the answer you are getting?
So 11 by 3 power 5, sir.
11 by 3 power 5. Idwa. Okay. So you can do the 10 problem. I think this is the last part. Yeah. India plays 2 matches each with West Indies and Australia. In any match, the probabilities of India getting points 0, 1, and 2 are 0.45, so 45%, 5%, and 50% respectively. Assume that the outcomes are independent. The probability of India getting at least 7. So at least in Mandala, what days? Take that 1 minus.
So there's only one case, sir.
So what is it?
So 3 wins and 1 draw.
Okay. So just a minute. Tell me.
So it's either 3 wins and 1 draw or 4 wins, sir.
So how many matches is it playing? India plays 2 matches each with West Indies and Australia. Okay. So how many matches is it playing?
4.
4. So out of 4 matches, India getting 0.01 or 2. Okay. 0.45 this much. Okay. Now tell me, how did you proceed?
Sir, at least 3 matches need to be won and 1 should be drawn for 7 points, sir.
So the probability of India getting at least 7 points. So at least 7 points means how is it possible?
So 3 wins and 1 draw or 4 wins.
And 1 match lost?
Drawn, sir.
Oh, draw. Zero is lose, 1 is draw. So 3 wins means how much are you getting? 6, sir?
Yes, sir.
6 plus 1 draw is 1, 7. All win. That's it. That's right. So 4C3 into how many times are they winning? 3 times, right? So 3 times means 0.5 the whole power 3 into
0.05 the whole
0.05 the whole power 1. Yeah, that's right. Got it? So you can try the remaining problems. This mean and variance alone, please give me some time. I will check and get back. The probability is over. What is the statistics, mathematical reasoning, and matrices and determinants? See, matrices and determinants, I will share the formula sheet. Why don't you guys try the problem? So instead of discussing, you can try the problems and we can have a discussion. Statistics and mathematical reasoning, we can have a discussion session. Okay, matrices and determinants, what I will do is, I'll share the formula sheet and I'll share the worksheet. You people solve it. No, whatever is a doubt, I'll send you a Google form. Just upload in it all your doubts at a stitch. Okay, don't upload it one by one. After you complete all the topics, just upload your doubts. We can have a discussion. It can be a concept also. We'll do that because you studied matrices and determinants only in 12th. So mathematical reasoning, you would have not studied much in depth in your 11th. At the same time, statistics also we will do it. Only we will do it here. So with these two chapters, we can close the syllabus for math, and physics also we'll try to complete it by mid of next week. Okay, is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this week I'm not conducting any part test. So next week we'll complete everything, and then we'll have a part test. After that, I'll tell you what you can do. So by today, I'll share a schedule of what you need to do for the next 2 months. Okay.
Sir, I have a doubt or question. Sir,
Tell me.
sir I'll send you the question, sir.
You're sending me a question. Listen. Others, if you have no doubt, you can leave.
Sir, I can.
Okay. I have to solve this and I'll see that. I can solve and only tell, or else time will get wasted. So 3 natural numbers are taken at random from the set A is equal to x, such that x belongs to 1 to 100 and x belongs to the natural number set. The probability that the arithmetic mean of the numbers taken is 25. So only 3 natural numbers should be taken. I have to solve this and think about it. You want, you can share it in the group. Okay, share it in the group. If anybody is able to solve, just share it. So anything else? Guys, Darun has sent a question in the WhatsApp. Okay, you can look at it, think about it. Even I'll share my answer.